Welcome. So we're wearing the meta cabinet. If you recall from the previous video, you can do two things in the meta cabinet. Let's spin it up. Well, first of all, spin it up. This is how you bring in the meta cabinet. So you can do two things on the meta cabinet. You can manage your current workspace, and two, you can browse saved workspaces and those saved by others. Right now, what we will do is look at how you can manage your current workspace. And there's four ways that you can manage the current workspace via the meta cabinet. The first one is you can create a workspace. The second one is you can rename the workspace. The third is you can edit the tabs within that workspace. Fourth, you can delete a workspace. And fifth, you can save a workspace. Those are the 5 ways you can edit the workspace. I know I said 4 before. Okay, so we will also expand on number 3, which is edit the tabs within the workspace, because there's 4 ways that you can edit the tabs within the workspace. You can rename a tab, delete a tab, focus and unfocus a tab, and sleep wake a tab. So let's start. Number 1, creating a workspace. So previously you've seen me click on this button over here, which creates a tab. Now here's something to understand. A tab cannot exist without a workspace. So by creating a tab, you're inherently creating a workspace. So when I do this, notice this here, I created a tab, but I also created a workspace. And you can see it right here. Right now, this is an untitled workspace. This is the untitled workspace, and it has 1 tab, right? So that's how you create a workspace. We're gonna close it, and clicking here and clicking here is the same thing. It creates a tab, it creates a new workspace. There we go. Now, the second thing that we can do is rename the workspace. So for that, we will go over here and, we're gonna go over here and click on this, which says edit. And we're gonna call it the demo workspace. Cool, enter. Now this is, it's been renamed to the demo workspace. Now we're going to look at how you can edit the tabs within that workspace. So let's create a couple more tabs. So you see this maps out perfectly to what you see here. So the ways that you can edit the tabs are, well, you can rename them. So let's rename this one. So tab 1. All right, let's rename this one as tab the 2nd, and then let's call triple tabular. Cool. So we've renamed the tab. Now we're gonna delete a tab. You click on the trash can, it deletes the tab. Notice that, how it deletes the tab. Now let's create a couple more tabs and rename this as Tuola, and as this one as trifecta. Okay, so we have now deleted a tab. Now focusing and unfocusing the tab. We already did that by clicking here. So right now we're on the trifecta tab, which has 2 panes. Now we click on Tuola, which has 1 pane, and back to trifecta, 2 panes. And notice how when I click here, this also lights up to the active one. All right, you see? We can also do that here. So I click here, I click here, and I click here. And that is what focuses the active tab. Now the 4th thing that you can do is you can sleep and awake a tab. So why would you do that? Well, let's say that this is the trifecta tab, is like some crazy tab that has, a bunch of different live data streams coming in. And, the market is open, it's going wild. So even if you're not looking at this tab, let's say I click on Tuola, the stuff from the trifecta tab, that is still, receiving data, and that's like a live tab. So if you don't want to have it all consuming, you can just turn it off, right? So then when I go back here, it takes a bit to load. So the example is, let's, put this here, and let's load this with a bunch of different, well, it's just the same module over and over, but so you can see the difference. And we covered a bit of this when we talked about how the left tab you can turn it off or sleep it. So right now we go to Tuola and we go here, it's right there. Tuola, here, it's right there. Tuola, here, it's right there. Now let's kill trifecta. You kill it with this button, pause. Now when we click on it, it has to recreate the whole thing again, right? And that can take a bit. So that's the fourth thing that you can do with editing of the tabs. Now, that's editing the tabs. Now let's delete a workspace. Deleting a workspace is simple. You click on this X right here, which is what will delete the workspace, or on this trash can here, it'll delete the workspace. But before we delete it, let's just save it. So to save a workspace, let's edit it as demo workspace notes so that we can edit workspace. And now let's save it by clicking here. So this has saved the workspace, and now we'll be able to load it, which we'll do in the next video. So right now we have covered how to create a workspace, how to rename the workspace, how to edit the tabs within that workspace. And the ways that you edit the tabs within that workspace are you can rename a tab, you can delete a tab, you can focus, unfocus a tab, and you can sleep, awake a tab. And back to workspace, you can also save a workspace. And now we're going to delete this workspace by clicking here, and we're back where we started. All right. See you just in a moment.